What's good, everyone? Welcome back to another Jets episode of the Knicks, Jets, etc. podcast. And with me, as always, my buddy, my co-host, my pal, the foundation himself, the co-host of Winning P Weekly, the man who hasn't slept because of March Madness at the games, finally at some live games. What's up, Greg? How you doing, man?
What's going on, John? It's been a lot of fun. March Madness has been fun. This Jets off season has been fun. I'm really excited to be back to talk to you about it. It's been quite a couple weeks. A lot of, I feel like, headlines, but not a lot of action. I'm ready to dive into it. How you doing?
Man, I've been living on cloud nine since that Aaron Rodgers, Pat McAfee interview, to be completely honest, on the Jets side, which we'll get into. On the flip side, the Rangers, they clinched the playoffs
Yep.
finally. So I'm looking at that. We have
Oh.
Yankees opening day just around the corner. Things are looking good there. We got the Volpe coming through, even though all of our pitchers are on the DL. It's
Yeah.
whatever for now. We'll get to that later. The Knicks are rolling. IQ dropped 40 last night.
Are they going to win 45 games, John? I've been asking you for a month yet now. You've been telling me the whole time, yes, we're winning 45 games. I'm
It's
officially
getting
nervous.
close. It's
I'm
getting
not hitting the
close now.
panic button, but I'm officially nervous. Like, we have to win against the Heat. We have to.
So I'm actually taking 40 people to the Knicks Heat game, including a
Okay.
bunch of a bunch of my high school
That's
kids.
this week,
So
right? This Friday, or
no,
Thursday,
tomorrow, Wednesday.
tomorrow. Okay.
So that'll be an interesting game. We'll get to it more on the Knicks episode, on the Knicks side of things, but I'm really hoping for a Knicks 6 seed. I know that sounds blasphemous. I know the almighty 4 seed. I know we could play the Cavs right now, which is a more favorable matchup. But I'm gonna tell you right now, man, I don't want to see Donovan Mitchell in my face in the Garden ever. I still have trauma from Trey Young. I don't want to see the Bucks in round 2 if we make it out. I need to avoid those things. Give me Philly, give me Embiid and Harden and Doc Rivers, the playoff trio. Like
Yeah.
I want them so bad. And then give me Boston if they're able to advance. That'd be fun. Boston Knicks, they give us hell in the Garden, and we have really, really, really close games every single time. Just guard Al Horford at the 3-point line. But anyway, we're here for the Jets episode. Starting to finally go live. We have some big changes. The name's going to change. We have some stuff that's going to be changing. So we're working on it. We're going live right now. And the reason we're going live, Greg, is because for the past couple episodes, every time we say something, literally the next morning, like before we're even allowed to update it and upload it onto our streams, what we predict actually happens. So last episode, we were talking about Elijah Moore. Everybody was asking me as soon as it happened, John, what do you think about Elijah Moore? I'm like, dude, I just said it. Like, I know you haven't had titles. I just said it. So here we are. We are live. And let's just start with Elijah Moore here because
check out the YouTube. If you're listening on the podcast, you can listen to us live, watch us live on the YouTube, Knicks, Jets, etc. on there. And if you're watching it after the fact, come try to find us live here and join the conversation. We got the chat going. We'd love to field some questions while we're going to kind of round us out, hear what you guys think while we're recording. Because to your point, we talked about Elijah Moore stuff last week, but we could have got some, some input from some viewers as we're recording. So Knicks, Jets, etc. on the YouTube. Come check us out. I think we might be live on the Twitter too, John. So it's pretty
making moves
cool.
right now. We're making moves. And at the same time, the Jets are making moves. Last episode, we were talking about how for once in my life, Greg, for once in my life, I just wanted the New York Jets to get rid of somebody 1 year too early instead of 1 year too late. That's all I just one time I wanted to be the adult in the room. I wanted to control the narrative and get something instead of nothing. Right? And the truth of the matter was when the Jets were at the highest of highs last year. Shout out to Lambeau Field. We were there. They won the game despite Zach Wilson being our quarterback. And I told you before I saw any headlines, I ran straight to my hotel room because I needed to record. My brother makes fun of me till this day. He's like, John, you were screaming for like 25 minutes. You didn't let anyone get in a word in. You're just yelling about Lambeau Field. I was so excited. And then at that same time, I said, hey, you know who's going to have an issue with this game, man? Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore didn't get the ball. He was open. And what happened? That was the day of his discrepancy. And, from that point on, he got the suspension. He came back. We blamed it on the offensive coordinator, who's now gone, Mike LaFleur. But, dude, this was coming to an end at some point. We were not going to pay him money. Like, there's no way that we were going to extend him, or he's going to hit free agency and he's going to decide to come to the Jets. That is really a pipe dream. So the second round pick that we got, everybody's excited. However, we did give up a third round pick. So, Greg, before we get into the consequences of maybe that trade and why maybe we did that trade, what are your initial thoughts on trading Elijah Moore, it actually happening, and getting rid of the third just to get back a second?
I thought it was pretty good because, I mean, not to skip ahead too much, but we have been talking about what it would likely be to trade for Aaron Rodgers. We were talking about maybe it's a first, maybe it's a second. We never really contemplated a third. So to me, it's like you're taking that third round pick that we knew was never going to get you Aaron Rodgers. You upgrade it to a second. We're sitting now with 2 second round picks. So one of those can be, or two of those can be used in an Aaron Rodgers trade. And that would keep our first round pick. So to me, that kind of signals we got someone there in that top 13 that we really like. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the trade. To your point, we talked about it last week, how we have 4 compensatory picks this draft. Those are 4 extra picks that we're getting,
For
which
next
is usually
season, hopefully.
for next season, which is usually reserved for the better teams in the league. You see it with the Patriots, you see it with other teams that are in the playoffs.
The
And
Ravens.
yeah, the Ravens and the good front offices, and we usually are never that. We usually don't have a good front office. We usually are definitely not getting compensatory picks for players that we traded for, drafted, signed, whatever it might be to get those
Because we're too
picks.
busy signing players like Corey Davis to, huge mega deals, and that negates everything.
Right, right. Oh yeah, all types of players. The list goes on and on. But either way, we're saying, maybe it is a pipe dream. But you talked about the next evolution of a good front office is that Patriot way of trading a guy a year too early instead of trading a guy a year too late. And boom, Joe Douglas did it. He made it happen, which is incredible. To me, it's just a great sign of what Joe Douglas has been able to do in his tenure here at the Jets. A great confidence level that it seems like Woody Johnson and Robert Saleh and Joe Douglas all have together. And this front office is moving. We're making deals. We're trading people earlier instead of later. To your point, it was probably a pipe dream to get Elijah Moore back on track, get him productive to the point where we can, feel comfortable paying him after his rookie deal is up. So if that's the case, trade him to the Browns. The Browns obviously need weapons with Deshaun Watson. They have no picks. I'm surprised they were able to come up with a second round pick. So yeah, I think overall it's a great trade. I'm very happy about it. Kind of stinks that Elijah Moore is gone because I think we all saw some flashes. We're like, ooh, this could be something. We obviously talked about watching him at Ole Miss. There's something there. It just never worked out. And when things don't work out for the Jets, we usually get nothing in return. Now we're sitting with the second round pick. I'm very excited. That's like a big deal in the NFL draft circles. Like a second round pick is an everyday starter, could be a franchise guy for you. So to get that for someone that's not working out, that's completely fine with me.
It's really funny you say that, because especially when it comes to the Jets, our second round picks, I'll say this every single offseason, have been an absolute disaster. And I guess you could add Elijah Moore to that track. When you start going through the second round picks, maybe you hit on some like, David Harris, which, is almost 2 decades ago at this point.
Yeah.
But if you narrow it down to wide receivers in the second round, it gets ugly, man. It is downright ugly in there.
Which is part of the problem. A lot of teams, day 2 people in the draft, second round, third round guys, should be plug and play, pretty much starters. And they should develop into strong pieces for your franchise. That has not been the case for this organization since we've been alive. That's been a big problem for us over the last 20, 30 years. So hopefully we're figuring that out. We'll see. There's still some mixed feelings about Joe Douglas's draft classes, but we'll get into that when we start doing draft previews in a couple of weeks before the draft.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you mentioned the fact that our first round pick, it looks like we have somebody
Yeah.
who we're looking at, hopefully one of the 3 tackles, who it's been so hard to get into a deep dive of the Jets draft because we don't know what we're doing. At this point, I feel like we're comfortable enough the next episode I actually start talking about the first round prospects. I think that first round pick is here to stay. And another point, and maybe you alluded to it a little bit, but the fact that we have 2 second round picks back to back, especially if we send one to Green Bay from this year, the 2023 second that we just got from the Browns, for example, it means that we also are looking at someone in the second round that we didn't want. We wanted someone in it with our pick. We don't want to get rid of it.
Yep.
I'm wondering if that's maybe Ben Jones, the center. I mean, I'm wondering if it's John Michael Schmidt, sorry, the center from
Yeah, the guy
Minnesota.
from Minnesota. Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's Deion Branch, the safety from Bama, right?
Yep.
There's some plug and plays, but as I had a Freudian slip there, there's also the free agency side where maybe we're done with safety because we already traded for Chuck Clark, but there's Ben Jones. You know what I mean? So maybe if we sign Ben Jones as a center, because me and you have we've been a little skeptical about the fact that Aaron Rodgers is gonna come on his 1, maybe 2 year deal with the Jets and have a rookie center who's not gonna, maybe not figure it out until year 4. You know what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say?
Oh yeah.
So it is interesting what goes on there. I mean, last episode we kind of hinted at maybe don't be surprised if the Jets draft a defensive player in the first couple picks now because of what they've been doing with free agency. But it looks like it's going to be a tackle in the first round. And if we have our second round pick and we could add a safety to this room, or if Jack Campbell somehow, the linebacker from Iowa, somehow slips, maybe one of the D tackles, who knows? We'll get there at some point. But for this episode, Greg, Woody, Joe, and Rob go to Arizona.
Let's talk about it.
Go to the owners' meetings, and for all the anxiety that is, honestly, it feels like it's trying to be force-fed down my brain, down my throat from all the writers who I respect and I believe and I love. I for the most part, I really do, right? Especially when it comes to the Jets beat. There's some I believe everything that Rosenblatt writes for The Athletic, like Connor Hughes, I
Yeah.
believe. I mean, Rich
course.
Cimini, there's always an angle because he's a little jaded. He's been covering them since the New York Titans, so I get it. Honestly, I mean, I'm jaded, and I've only known them for 25, 30 years. So it's whatever. I understand it, but for the most part, I do believe them. But I told you I muted the L word, the leverage word. I don't want to hear that word anymore. And it's so funny because you see all the interviews with Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh and Woody Johnson. You see them flip-flopping back and forth. For one, we had Woody Johnson, who a couple weeks ago didn't want to mention Aaron Rodgers' name, only wanted to talk about Derek Carr because he was the only free agent. Now, today, he mentioned Aaron Rodgers' name 4 or 5 times. He does not care anymore.
I love it.
Yeah, we want someone like Aaron Rodgers. That would be fantastic. The cat's out of the bag. Robert Saleh not mentioning Aaron Rodgers' name because he's been very, very well media trained. We have an adult in the head coaching room, which is I won't say since Bill Parcells because of Herm Edwards, but Saleh is definitely an adult in the room. The only slip he had was like you mentioned earlier to me on camera where he was like Zach Wilson's the number 2 quarterback, which is hilarious. And there's no more veterans. There's no more veterans anywhere in free agency. There's definitely no veterans in the rookie draft. So it looks like it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. So you can breathe. Just take a deep breath.
Yeah, I agree with that, John. I do feel like now that you say it, it does feel like the media a little bit, maybe Twitter a little bit, is trying to force this anxiety on us. And it's just like, guys, take it easy. I don't know. They were talking Rich Cimini, a couple other people were asking Robert Saleh, what's the pressure like of not having your quarterback, or what anxiety comes with not having your quarterback figured out. Again, by the way, on March 28th, it's crazy. The season doesn't start till August, but in March, what kind of anxiety is it bringing? He was just like, it's out of my hands. It's out of my control. I control what I control. That's a Joe Douglas question. I was talking before the first, I think 10 of the first 12 questions he was asked. It was, here's, you got to talk to Joe Douglas. At some point, he was like, I can give you Joe Douglas's number. Like, he was cracking jokes with the reporters because they were all Joe Douglas questions. He can't talk about other players. He doesn't want to talk about other players. He doesn't want to talk about hypotheticals. He doesn't want to talk about pressure from outside sources. He wants to talk about the New York Jets, the guys on the New York Jets, and how happy he is that, one, the organization is a place where veteran players across the league want to go, and two, where we're at with the current guys on the roster, because he kept reiterating how excited he is about this roster that we have in front of us. It's exciting to see, man. To your point, he is an adult. It feels like the first competent adult we've had at the head coaching position in a while. Joe Douglas, I mean, it was a quick little interview that they put up on the Jets YouTube, but still, it was great to see him talk and listen to him talk. I love the whole we're not interested in entertaining a Lamar Jackson trade or deal or anything, because that would be like, I forget what the terms that he used or whatever,
You'd
but
be
like,
negotiating in bad faith.
yeah, it would be disingenuous, which is true. Like, we're negotiating for Aaron Rodgers without saying that, which is awesome to hear, because I still can't believe it's happening. And two, there's some serious negotiating going on, because we don't want to pivot, because it's not like, hey, we threw out an offer, we didn't really hear back. There's legit negotiating going on. We're moving the ball down the field in those negotiations. So to come away from that and start looking somewhere else, we'll begin negotiating in bad faith. To me, that means this is a legit thing we got going on. And everyone just take your time, because there is some hiccups, there is some roadblocks, there is some ironing out of details that we need to conclude. And I want to talk to you about a couple of those things, because I think they're really important for people to kind of understand.
Yeah, so the best part was we're negotiating for a veteran. We're bringing a veteran quarterback. It would be disingenuous / in bad faith to negotiate for Lamar Jackson, the only other veteran quarterback who's even remotely available.
Oh, an MVP of the NFL, and we're negotiating to get a 4-time MVP of the NFL, when we haven't had a franchise quarterback for since TVs were black and white.
Yeah, so Vinny
So
Testaverde, I guess, or
I
Pennington, if you really
I
want.
guess if you want to call those guys franchise quarterbacks, Mark Sanchez, I don't know, but
Back-to-back AFC championships, man. Never forget.
the fact that we're not negotiating for an MVP of the NFL because we're trying to bring in a 4-time MVP, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion is just I still can't understand it. I still can't. It doesn't feel real as a Jets fan.
And there's some mutual respect between Joe Douglas and the Ravens, which is cool to see also. On the other hand, we have that Yahoo Sports article, which I really do believe Yahoo Sports articles that come out regarding negotiations or things that, or reports about player signings and stuff of that nature. In this case, the trade parameters are starting to be set. The second round pick that we got, at least one of them, either ours, it's only one pick apart. If really that one pick based on that scale that's made up by the Dallas head coach, by Jimmy Johnson, whatever. Yeah. If you want to use the Johnson scale, if that's going to give us extra points, just take our pick, dude. Go ahead, Green Bay, enjoy it. Do whatever you got to do with that pick. We'll pick after you. Patriots, Green Bay, us, no problem. Like we'll take the heat for that. Like if that really is going to change your life. On the other hand, there's incentive-based 2024 pick from the Jets where it would maybe start at a third-round pick and start escalating up depending on how far the Jets get. Like if the Jets host a playoff game, which if the Jets host a playoff game, man, like I was joking around about that yesterday with one of my friends. They're like, what's the difference between like the Knicks season tickets and the Jets season tickets? Like what's the plus minus there? I'm like, dude, the whole point of season tickets in general is so you could have access to playoff games.
Yeah.
The Jets don't have home playoff games, let alone playoff games in general. Like that's not a thing for us. The fact that we're trying to base negotiations off the fact that we're going to host a playoff game, like, dude, sign me up. Take whatever you want, bro. Like literally take whatever you want. So that's the desperation mode that I'm in. But I'm glad that the Jets are actually negotiating. So if it starts at a third, it goes to a second. If we host a divisional playoff game, which means we win the division, We win the AFC East, like
Yeah,
whatever.
don't say that too loudly. Don't say that too loudly.
And then if we
But
make
also
it to the
speak it into existence at the same time, John. Speak it into existence.
oh,
I don't care that
it's
there's
coming.
quarterbacks everywhere. I want to win.
And if it goes to the AFC Championship, then it might be a first,
Yep.
right? But from what I can gather from the way the article was written, because as we know, the writers or reporters, they all know more than they can say. It's just it's a fact at this point, right? So we have to take. That's why we're here. Try to gather it all and try to make educated assumptions, honestly,
Fill in the
about
gaps a little bit based on what everyone's saying.
On the other hand, we have the Jets who want to get a pick back in 2025 from Green Bay, also based on incentives as to whether Aaron Rodgers plays. Green Bay knows how it is. They just came out and they're trying to save face. They have a shareholders meeting coming up, and they want to tell their fans, their people, hey, the Aaron Rodgers is a liar. He's making it seem like we just don't call him. Like we don't want to tell him. Like we're our franchise quarterback, our best player. Like we're not telling him what's going on. The reality is, and it could be believable because he goes into the darkness, which has been reported 10.5 million times. He doesn't answer our phone calls. So what do you want us to do? That's Green Bay's take. He's not answering our phone calls. We have Jordan Love. What he was 90% retiring from his own words going into the darkness. I mean, we were on the right track. Like if he comes out and he fills in that 10% gap, we are miracle. Like we are the best franchise ever. Everybody loves us. We did everything perfectly. We drafted the right guy. He left on a high note. Everybody's good. Ended up, Aaron Rodgers had a change of heart. Thank God. And he wants to come to the Jets. And so because of that, because of how off seasons go, I forgot which. Was it a player? Was it an executive for Green Bay? Was it an ex-player? I can't remember at this exact moment. But somebody said once the offseason it was Alan Lazard. It was like once the offseason begins, Aaron Rodgers' communication dwindles a little bit. You know what I mean? So it's now it's an open fact at this point. So the Jets want to cover themselves a little bit and say, hey, if he retires after 1 year, if it really is a one and done, then we want to pick back in 2025. And and I think that's the sticking point. Green Bay's probably like, no way, dude, we're not doing that. We never even heard of that before, which I agree. I've never heard of that kind of trade before in my life.
I love Joe Douglas, baby. That's why I never even thought about it. Never even crossed my mind.
So if let's call that a third round pick, which would be amazing. Let's just call it a third. Then at the end
the
of
only
the
thing, real point before we jump into it, the only thing that was reported is that we want to pick back in 2025. That was reported. We just don't know what pick it is. So now we're going to go into the guessing game, filling in the gaps, just talking, having a conversation portion.
Exactly. So if that's a third, let's just call it a third round pick. That means that we traded Elijah Moore for Aaron Rodgers and a conditional pick next year. That's it.
Deal. Oh side me up. Where do I side?
You know what I mean? Like that's how you have to think about this. And if that's the case, my man in the corner right here, Mr. Joe Douglas, you're watching on YouTube, my twin. I mean, if it's possible to buy Joe Douglas jersey, I think I might have to at this point. It's more important than Aaron Rodgers jersey. It's more important than anything else because of how he's handling this. I mean, he has the owner, Woody Johnson, who, for better or for worse, has been compared to like James Dolan, all the negatives of James Dolan and the meddling and this and that, right? And then once the Rangers do good, no one talks about Dolan. Once the Knicks do good, nobody talks about Dolan. Once Woody Johnson is willing to drop $60 million guaranteed to pay Aaron Rodgers, no one says a word. It's all, Woody. He's coming out today saying not only is he excited about getting this veteran quarterback in, he's pontificating about how cool it is that they're a win now team and players like Odell Beckham show up to Arizona to the owners meeting and they want to meet with the Jets. I mean, he's just one of us, man. At the end of the day, I'm sorry to say, like, I'm sorry if you're a Woody Johnson hater, if you he's just one of us, man. He is Gary V. Like, I know that sounds crazy. He's all like, we need Gary V to buy. What would Gary V be doing different than Woody Johnson? He's tampering in plain sight in front of all the owners in the national media. He's willing to put down $60 million in escrow without blinking his eye. And he's courting free agents. Like he was courting Derek Carr a little bit, kind of just like talking him up a little bit. He's excited about Odell Beckham. What more do you want from this front office, man?
It's incredible. If we get the Aaron Rodgers deal done, John, I think we're going to have to do a little segment somewhere. Joe Douglas's top 5 trades. And we'll write them down and we'll come and we'll talk about it. Top 3 trades, top 5 trades. Because if he pulls off this trade, and if it's something like you're saying, like a conditional 3rd-round pick in 2025, just to give us a little bit of a parachute in case Rodgers plays one season, I don't know if it's his best. I think it's his best trade ever, but that Jamal Adams trade's pretty crazy. The Sam Darnold trade's pretty crazy. To your point, Blake getting a pick for Blake Cashman was pretty crazy. Just like even
Clark.
I mean, there's tons of trades. Like even
if we
like
trade Braden Mann, even the tweet is enough for me at this point. Just the fact that we're shopping.
Who's the tight end we sent to Minnesota that never played?
Oh, Chris Herndon.
Yeah, like Chris Herndon, we got to pick for him. Like those are all things. Those are all little things that you talked about, like indications of a good franchise. That's one of the pieces is getting picks for nothing. Another thing was getting compensatory picks. Another thing is trading people a little early instead of a little late to get some value out of it. Like these are all things in Joe Douglas's favor. His draft classes have been getting better and better as they go. Like it's all coming together for Joe Douglas in this front office. Like I said earlier in the podcast, I think they're all, it sounds like a very cohesive unit between Robert Saleh, Woody Johnson, and Joe Douglas. It's great to see. This is the most excited I've been about a front office in history. So let's go Jets.
So we mentioned it. We mentioned it last week. We mentioned it a little bit today. We've heard about Aaron Rodgers' wish list. We heard about Odell Beckham coming to the owners' meetings today and not meeting with teams like the Giants. However, meeting with teams like the Jets. It has to mean something, dude. There's a picture posted of him hugging Salah. It means nothing. It's just a picture. It's just a one snapshot. But dude, it gets me hyped. It gets me hyped. I don't love Odell. He's not my favorite human being on the planet. But when Aaron Rodgers is in the room, I'm not worried about the outside noise. If Zach Wilson was a quarterback, I'd be very worried if Odell Beckham's in there. If he misses him twice, it's over. He's gonna flip tables in the back. You know what I mean? That's not gonna happen with Aaron Rodgers. So my question is, as the receiver room stands now, technically we have Corey Davis. Robert Saleh said he likes him. I don't know what that means, to be honest with you. Saleh says he likes everyone. He even likes Moore still. So I don't know. I really have no idea. I don't know if they're going to keep his contract. If they take it, they can pay Q Will everything he needs right now for this year. If they just get rid of Corey Davis. So I have no idea how it's going to play out.
Yep.
Maybe Green Bay doesn't actually want him. So maybe that's why we're kind of playing him up a little. We love him. We love Corey Davis. You should take him type deal. I don't know. But as it stands, we have Corey Davis on a 1-year deal. So let's leave him there. We got Lazard. We got this guy, Garrett Wilson.
He's pretty good.
Odell Beckham, maybe. We have 2 tight ends who restructured, so they're going to be here for a while, and CJ Uzomah and Tyler Conklin. We have Mercedes Lewis and Randall Cobb, 2 veterans who Aaron Rodgers wants, and we signed McCole Hardman for the same exact money as Berrios. I mean, what a trade. You're talking about trades? That is a trade. Cutting Berrios and getting McCole Hardman for the same exact price, kick returner, punt returner specialist, and is always upset with Kansas City for not getting enough offensive plays. I think Berrios was upset when they called his name for plays. He's like, damn it, dude, again. If I drop this all over,
Yeah.
So my question is, what do you think about Odell? What do you think about how the offensive room stands? And if you're looking at the screen right now, there's another guy. His name is D-Hop. He's on the screen. The Patriots rumors have been dispelled regarding D-Hop, at least.
Yep.
I'm thankful for that. I am really worried about, the Aaron Rodgers Eve episode we had where you yelled at me because I was talking up how I was very, very anxious and very scared that Lamar Jackson is going to end up in New England. Still kind of worried about that. But the Commanders are buying a new team, maybe by Magic Johnson. That feels like they could go get Lamar Jackson, so that would be fantastic. But sticking with the Jets, What do you think about this offensive room right now? What do you think about the 4 guys we have, on the bottom of our screen right now? Randall Cobb, Sadie Lewis, D-Hop, and Odell.
I'm okay with Randall Cobb and Mercedes Lewis. I think those are good. Round out the offensive rooms. Gets you a veteran guy in the wide receiver room and Randall Cobb that knows Aaron Rodgers in and out. Gets you a veteran guy in Mercedes Lewis in the tight end room that knows Aaron Rodgers in and out. That just helps Aaron Rodgers throughout this whole process and transition. The guys on the other side of the screen, D-Hop and Odell. I've said it from the beginning, I'm not in on Odell. No one can change my mind about anything about Odell. I don't know what he brings to the table. I don't know. I don't think he's like a spectacular wide receiver anymore. I think if he comes into the league and plays the whole season and he's healthy, I think he's a middle of the road kind of guy. I don't think he's going to get you 1,000 yards. I don't think he's going to get you 10 touchdowns. He might have a spectacular catch or two, but I haven't seen anything in the last 5 years that makes me think he's just going to be this immense talent. On the other hand, D-Hop is an immense talent. Granted, he had the suspension. Granted, he had some injuries, which he normally hasn't had in his career over the last few years out in Arizona. If he's available, he's like a guy that moves the needle for me. He could, if he's healthy and he has a good connection with Aaron Rodgers, which I'm sure the connection would be incredible, he could be the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL if he's healthy all season. I don't think Odell Beckham has that upside anymore. So D-Hop, if he's available and we can cut Corey Davis and use that money plus another $5-10 million to get D-Hop in the building, I think that's a tremendous upgrade. Odell, I don't even know where he fits. Like, is he going to be the slot receiver? Is that where he's going to play? He's not going to be the
Yeah.
outside guy.
Yeah. Dude, at this point,
I don't need to pay
Lazard.
I don't need to pay $18 million, $16 million for a slot receiver.
All right, but what if it's 8 guaranteed and then incentive and he will get 18 if he does XYZ?
I think that's good. I just don't know where who is he starting over? The outside is going to be either Mecole Hardman or Allen Lazard.
No. Come on, Hardman. Come on. Dude,
that's what Mecole Hardman is. He's an outside, fast, speedy guy, down the field, stretch the field kind of guy. He's not an inside slot guy.
Yeah, he's like when we're doing like
Brandon Cooks. He's just going to run down the field 40 yards and you're going to throw it up to him.
Yeah. We're really looking at, for like real plays, we're looking at G5 and Allen Lazard on the corners and Odell in the slot. What else do you want? 2 tight ends.
Yeah. I thought Garrett Wilson would be in the slot. Allen Lazard would be the other. If we were running 2 wide receiver sets, I think it's going to be Lazard and Garrett Wilson. If we're running 3 wide receiver sets, to me, that's a kind of a coin flip between Odell Beckham and Corey Davis. To me, there's not that.
Think about it. Like you said, Odell is not that rookie Odell. He's not the Giants Odell anymore. He's not going to play every play. So even if he makes a spectacular first down that we need on 3rd down, right? It's like 3rd and 8. He gets 15 yards. He needs to sit out 2 plays. You know what I'm saying? Like he does. You know what I mean? Like he does have 2 torn ACLs. We do know that the Jets and other teams, they pay attention to incentives. They're going to know exactly what incentives he has. It's going to be advantageous for them to actually sit him down in between plays. You know what I mean? And just blame it on his knee.
Yeah.
We saw it with James Robinson.
Yeah, to me, I just don't see huge upside on the field with Odell. And I see all the downside with him getting near Garrett Wilson. It's like, dude, don't let people think Odell is cool. He's a punk. Like, don't go anywhere near him. Like, we need Garrett Wilson to be a franchise guy for the next 15 years. We can't let him get, influenced by this idiot Odell Beckham Jr.
Damn, harsh words from Greg regarding Odell. Maybe you still remember him proposing to the background. Maybe that's why you're not feeling it.
I remember the boat picture. That's all I remember.
And the Giants record that keeps coming up every single time they lose a game. They're like, they have this, they're like batting 300 since that. But anyway.
Yep.
My question to you is, to kind of round out this episode here, what do you want to see from the Jets that besides trading for Aaron Rodgers? We know trading for Aaron Rodgers is going to make everybody happy. Wearing my Lambeau shirt. I can't wait to find out what number I'm to the point, Greg. I'm be honest with you. I just want to know what number he's going to wear. Is he going to take Joe Namath's 12? Is he going to have so much respect that he's going to change it now Elijah Moore is gone? Is he going to take his 8, which he wore at Cal? Like, what is Aaron Rodgers doing?
The NFL approved number 0 being available this year?
Maybe I see Odell wearing that, to be honest with you. I see Odell coming in and grabbing that 0.
Oh, there's going to be a fight. There's going to be a fight over the number 0. Don't get me wrong.
People are going to want it. And now Garrett Wilson maybe can't get the 5 anymore. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm excited about that, to be honest with you. That's how far gone I am about this Aaron Rodgers deal. I'm telling you, if we don't get Aaron Rodgers, you're going to have to come find me, dude.
It's going to be a problem. That's not going to happen, though. Positive vibes, good thinking. That's not going to happen. Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Jet. It's just a matter of the specifics that come along with it. And with Joe Douglas negotiating, I do have a ton of confidence in those specifics.
So let me get you out of here on this.
Sure.
A little nuanced, but something that's been bothering me.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about this offensive line, man? What are your thoughts about Ben Jones? We mentioned it earlier versus John Michael Schmitz. What's your thoughts on Mekhi Becton, who looks like a tight end at this point? He's getting jacked. He's getting thin, and we got Dwayne Brown on the left and Mekhi Becton on the right. By preseason week 2, we could have no tackles. Or, by week 7, we could have the 2 best tackles in the league. Like, that's how far this scale can be.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts there? What are your thoughts with the safety room? You kind of mentioned Robert Saleh just talking positive about everybody. Dude, he's positive about Denzel Mims. He's positive about Ashton Davis. He's positive about a lot of people who we're trying to be like, what are you talking about, dude? Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the offensive line acquisition between free agency and the draft? Just a little preview for next week. What are your thoughts on the safety position, between the draft and who we have? And what do you want to see from the Jets besides Aaron Rodgers, besides figuring out Odell Beckham, besides kind of seeing what happens with D-Hop? What do you want to see from the New York Jets? What's going to calm your anxieties besides the quarterback? I get it.
For me, I think a very first is getting someone for the offensive line, right? So is it Ben Jones, if I remember correctly, is the center from the Tennessee Titans? Bring him in. He's a veteran guy. To your point, last year is the first time in his career he missed any time. So he's a relatively healthy guy. Again, a little bit older, but I think we need to bring a veteran in for the offensive line. That will help give Aaron Rodgers someone to mesh with right away instead of bringing a rookie in. But then also, too, early in the draft, like to your point with this Aaron Rodgers trade, it sounds like we're going to have a first. It sounds like we're going to have a second, whether it's our second or the Browns second. Draft another offensive lineman. We still need young guys to take over for this offensive line. Right now, we have AVT. We have Becton if Becton can stay healthy. But after that, we don't have a ton of young guys to fill out for, the Tomlinsons, for the different type of veterans that we're going to see age out over the next year or two. Then I believe we have to go in and address the safety position with a pick, whether it's the second round pick, whether it's a little pick later. To your point, I think we have good players right now, but we're going to need a younger guy to take the reins at some point here.
You mean Whitehead's not here forever?
Whitehead's not here forever. Ed Clark's not here forever. I think it's just, just rounding out with this draft. But for me, it's just sign a couple veteran guys to the offensive line. We're going to need someone to play D on. We need to talk about Calais Campbell and that not meeting, whatever's going on there. We're going to need one more D tackle in here to help round out this defensive line. But just keep these guys moving. Keep it going here.
So you mentioned the adults in the room and the compensatory picks. If we sign the compensatory pick deadline is May 1st. So maybe Odell, maybe Calais will be after May 1st.
Sure.
And then and Ben Jones, because that would at least keep that. We have Ronald Perry commenting. Odell is a different man with a whole new game plan. And yes, Ronald, you are a poet, and I think you did know
it. He's got bars. Shout out Ronald Perry. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for chatting with us. Let us know what else you think about what we're talking about.
I agree with him. I agree with Ronald. Greg,
If
you're on your own island here, and I get why. Because in your brain,
I'm
you
okay.
see Odell proposing to a field goal post. I'm with you, dude. I'm totally with you. However,
Yeah.
he's friends with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has like 8 friends in the NFL, and he wants them all to join him forever. He wants Randall Cobb to hold his hand until the day he leaves. He wants Mercedes Lewis. He wants Odell Beckham. How can you say no? You know what I'm trying to say? That's how I look at it. If it's Zach Wilson and you're trying to bring Odell, I see your issues. You know what I mean? If you're the Giants and you want to have Daniel Jones with Odell Beckham, I see your issues. You know what I'm saying? I see how that could be a problem. With Aaron Rodgers, we've just never had that adult in the room. The last time we had a quasi-adult in the quarterback's room, his name was Brett Favre, and then he was sending pictures of his genitals to staff. You know what I'm trying to say? And then he didn't tell us he tore his biceps, and we thought that was the adult. He gave me one of the greatest games I've ever witnessed in my life. 6 freaking touchdowns, man, in one game. It was unreal. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, oh, that's it. We're going to the Super Bowl. Like, yeah, that's it. Like, you know, like, here we are. We finally made it.
Finally figured it out. Yeah. Yeah.
You know? So I agree with you. I think Ben Jones is coming in from the center. I think that Deion Branch, if he's there in the second round, he'll be ours. I don't really see us signing another safety because we have Whitehead. He looks like he's going to stay. We traded for Clark. I guess Ashton Davis is going to stay because we don't have another choice, right?
Yep.
We do have Adams, who played well last year, and he seems to be liked around the locker room. And, you know, we didn't mention this, and I think this is a good place to kind of round out this whole episode because we've been saying it but not really saying it, and it's about locker room chemistry. Like, that's why Odell is that's why you're worried about Odell a little bit, but that's why I'm excited about Odell. Like, a little bit of a weird parallel there because him and Rodgers are going to be tight. And that excites me.
Yeah.
On the other hand, they love the Jets defensive players. They love Quincy Williams. So they're hyped that he's back. They love Adams, like the backup safety. They're hyped that he's there. They seem to like Jordan Whitehead. You know, they're hyped that he's there. Then we had the Zeke Elliott news, which another thing that we mentioned last episode that we didn't really get to here, where I was kind of asking you, what do you think about bringing in another running back, a veteran running back for cheap? Because my boy, it's not even hurts to say out loud, but the Jamal Adams is not going to be a Jet. Jamal Williams is not going to be a Jet.
Yep.
Sorry, Tony Adams, Jamal Williams, whatever. Jamal Williams with 2 A's is not going to be a Jet, and he only got paid $9 million guaranteed, dude. Like, he would have been perfect. Then I asked you about Zeke Elliott. I asked you about Leonard Fournette. I asked you about a couple of veteran running backs who maybe could add to this room. Because the truth of the matter is, and I'm sorry to say it out loud because, dude, he was so nice to me. He's such a good guy. My boy Michael Carter, he cannot be there on third downs. He just can't.
I knew.
I don't know.
I knew you started the sentence with Zeke Elliott 2 minutes ago. I knew Michael Carter was coming up. I knew that's where we were going.
I love him, dude. He's such a good guy, but he can't stop the blitz. What do you want me to do? I can't watch it. I can't watch that happen anymore. We did re-sign Nick Bowden. Hopefully he actually plays the fullback this year. We signed him last year. He literally did not play. Hopefully he plays with Aaron Rodgers. He did, always use Kuhn, the fullback. So he liked his system. Hackett, they like the fullback.
Kuhn. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm wondering if the locker room stuff means more sometimes than the schematics. I'm wondering if having a Michael Carter there, even though he's maybe not the most efficient third down guy, you have Ty Johnson there, who's a bruiser. You have Bam Knight, who, we love from NC State.
Oh, yeah.
And he showed the Jets world what he's all about last year. I wonder if that's more important than bringing in somebody like Zeke, somebody like Fournette. We know Zeke can't block at the center position, but maybe he could block, out of the running back a little bit.
Tough last play for your career.
What were your thoughts about the Jets anti-recruiting on the Twitter saying Breece Hall's like, what are we doing with Zeke? We're good with Michael Carter. What do you think about Michael Carter kind of fighting with Jets fans everywhere? Do you think it's more important to have the locker room chemistry, in the running back room, for example, or to have that veteran that could just Madden, if it's Madden, dude, just, hike it and give it to the guys and give you 4 yards. That sounds great.
Yeah, to me, locker room chemistry is like what takes you from like an 8-win team to like a playoff team that can make a run. Like at this point, I don't know if we have the luxury being the longest playoff drought in the NFL of like making decisions on like, well, Michael Carter is good for the locker room. Like, well, dude, we need to win football games and we need to make the playoffs. I don't know what to tell you. So if bringing Zeke in because we're probably going to need a week 1 starter because I don't think Brees Hall is going to be ready. Take your time, Brees Hall. We need you back and
You keep
ready to
saying yes,
go.
Greg. That's what's driving me nuts. Everyone's telling me yes, yes, yes. He's going to be
Everyone
there
says
week
yes.
1.
Everyone said yes with Mekhi Becton, and then he broke his freaking kneecap in a practice. Like,
I
take
broke my
your
freaking back.
time. Yeah, take your time. So, yeah, I'm okay with bringing in a veteran if that means we're gonna have someone week 1, but maybe it is Michael Carter and Bam Knight for the first 3 or 4 weeks. I don't know. Michael Carter seems to be loved in the locker room. He did not produce last year. We all know it. He needs to have a good year. But last year, I mean, there's a reason why people talk about sophomore slumps. It was a sophomore season. It was his second year in the league. He slumped a little bit. But to your point, to finish this point, there are some glaring holes in Michael Carter's game. So no matter how much you're loved, no matter how much you work on this, like I know the big clip last year before the season started was him talking with Michael Floor, like, I think I got faster. Like, oh, that guy ran me down. He's not gonna run me down this year. Dude, you can't block. So be as fast as you want. You can't block. So that doesn't help us at all. You know, Brees Hall's the only really complete running back we have on the team, and he is a torn ACL. So we need someone else. Maybe we can hodgepodge it together for the first couple weeks. I would like to bring in a veteran. I just don't know really who that veteran is.
I don't think it's going to happen, man. I think
Yeah,
the best case we're going to get is another late round rookie or an undrafted free agent. Like undrafted free agent, I'm thinking like Mo Ibrahim from Minnesota, who absolutely killed it, just like Bam Knight killed it in college, and we got him undrafted. Or maybe a late round pick like Tajay Spears from Tulane, but I don't know if he's going to make it all the way. Somebody,
and he's just another small guy. Like
yeah.
the NFL, you just don't need
So was
those.
Mo, by the way.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you just those guys. You need complete running backs now. You need to not pay your running back and get complete running backs. So we'll see.
All right. Well, this was a positive episode, even though it was a little bit on a negative note. There's no anxiety from Aaron Rodgers from us. We got glaring reviews from Woody, Joe, and Rob from their trip to Arizona. Sayonara to Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
And it looks like we have the free agency process on lock. Calais Campbell's coming to visit. Odell's coming to visit. He did visit it today. Ben Jones was mentioned specifically that we're interested in him. Everything is positive right now, man. Everything is positive in Jets. I know this is our Super Bowl, the off season, the free agency, the draft.
Yeah.
I know. So this is normal for us, honestly, to be happy. But I've never been this happy. I've never had a quarterback coming in. I'm never wearing Green Bay shirts with excitement, dude. Because
It's incredible.
Aaron Rodgers is coming to the Jets. I mean, we'll end it on that note. Next week we'll have hopefully Aaron Rodgers will be on the team, but we don't know. And hopefully we'll know for sure, at least if we're drafting in the first round. Let's at least talk about the first round. At least we're going to keep a second round pick, I assume. We're not trading 2 seconds.
Let's talk the first.
We'll do the first and the second round at least.
Yeah, because we know we don't have a third round pick.
Yeah. So, and then maybe we'll have like a 4, 5, 6, 7 kind of like hodgepodge really of just like some players who catch our interest because we are football fanatics. So college football, amazing. Shout out to Connor Rodgers. I cannot stop listening to him. He is evaluating everybody, dude. He's watching everyone. Shout out to him, man. Shout out to Connor Rodgers. We'll try to aggregate everything that we hear, that we read, that we know, and drop it on next episode. But for now, if you liked our live stuff, let us know. If you want us to change anything, any feedback, any comments, let us know. Or on Nick's Comment Jets Comment ETC period YouTube. We're also on Twitter, Stitcher, Google Play, Instagram, everything, dude. Anywhere you listen to your podcast, any of your social media, anywhere you watch videos, we're literally there. Hit us up. We appreciate you for coming to watch. We appreciate it for you guys for commenting on our stuff. And man, New York Jets. I mean, I don't want to predict it. I mean, we're gonna have Monday Night Football versus the Giants on 9/11. We're gonna have Thursday night versus the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. We're gonna have a Sunday night probably in Denver with Hackett going back home versus Sean Payton and Russell Wilson, your boy. I mean, those are just three. I'm sure we're gonna have a Patriots one, and in general, as usual. I mean,
Oh
wow.
yeah, we got the Hall of Fame game to start, baby. We're locked and loaded.
Yo, one thing.
Possibility. Is there a possibility of us being on Hard Knocks this season too?
I'm having a little issue with this whole hard knocks thing because One Jets Drive is just so much better. Like One Jets
Yeah.
Drive is literally propaganda for the Jets. So why would I want Hard Knocks? Where like then the HBO has our stuff, the NFL has our stuff. I hope that we could decline it. I hope there's a way to be able to just say no because we
Yeah.
have our own production. We'll see. But one quick note on the Hall of Fame game, we'll get into it more next episode. If you remember, the field at the Hall of Fame game
Not good.
absolutely stinks.
Yep.
Stinks. I'm calling it right now. I don't want to see a single starter from beginning to end on that field. I'm not joking. Not even Thomas Hennessy. Hennessy take off, dude. Or the long snapper. I don't want to see nobody on that. I'm not joking. I'm taking a hard stance here. And if anyone gets injured, I'm going to flip tables on that game. I don't care if it's our fourth string, fifth string tight end who's never going to play because, we got Mercedes Lewis in here now. Like poor Jeremy Rucker. You know what I mean? Like I want none of that. So that's all I got for this episode. Shout out to the boys in Arizona. And shout out to Odell Beckham. I'll see you soon. Greg, any last words?
Jets, 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 Jets.
Let's go, Jets, baby. Let's go.